to our message recap, where we go over the messages that we had the previous Sunday. We are in a message series called Didn't See That Coming.
Yep.
And the message this week was called God Understands.
Sure.
Oh, well, that's what the title on the YouTube video was.
Oh,
yeah, that's what we talked about. That was what the slide was, so that's what I called it.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So not only this all builds. Mm-hmm. Not only did God not forget about us,
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And the next step, that not only is God close to us, but as he's close to us, he understands every single emotion, fear, anxiety, joy, every human emotion. He understands. By actually understands. That is pretty amazing for a God that, as you started this series, for a God that is far out there and quiet, that what we think.
Yeah.
How opposite this is of what we generally just assume.
That's the whole series.
Yeah.
This is not what we think about God. This is not how we assume he works. This is not how close we assume he is. And yeah, this week was really kind of on God doesn't know what my pain is like.
Right.
God doesn't know what my disappointment is like. God doesn't know what, this devastation I went through is like. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. That's
He knows it tenfold.
He knows it, way more. I mean, he experienced some things. He knows, those emotions. That alone one I just think of, like, we can't even comprehend how alone Jesus felt on the cross. Like we have never been absolutely deserted by everybody, alone in the universe, sort of thing. So like he absolutely understands it all. There's specific situations we'll go. I mean, obviously God has never, Jesus didn't have to deal with an iPhone that wouldn't charge.
Right.
Okay.
Of course, but that's not an issue.
That's not an issue.
Right.
But every, principle, major emotion, life struggle, he's been through them all.
Yep. And yeah, I think it's a good series just because we forget he became flesh. And now he's experienced everything that we've experienced.
In the flesh.
Yeah, in the flesh, not far away God, spirit. It's he in the flesh experienced everything that we've experienced.
Yeah. And in a way that he can understand us. So that's the point. That
extreme versions of.
I like you said, I'm not sure, and I'm not sure, maybe somebody have, but most of us have never experienced. We might have experienced disappointment, but probably not to the extent he did.
Right.
And rejection. We've all been rejected, right? But
Not like
not like that. I mean, some of us, we know what rejection is, but not like that. And we know what loneliness is. We all do, but not like that. Yeah. He gets it. So the point is, he's with us and he understands. Even though it doesn't fix it, it makes it different. You told the story. I can identify with that so much, being lost in the Bitterroot National Forest wilderness area, millions of acres of land, and being lost there by myself, and I've been lost there with somebody. And oh my gosh, you don't even
what a difference.
You don't even consider it lost with somebody. Do you know where we are? No, I don't either. We're lost. But it's not even like you're lost when there's somebody with you that understands what being lost is like and all that. I mean, it's just, you're still lost, but doesn't even compare.
Right.
Really.
You've got somebody to go through it with, too.
Right. Somebody else understands.
Yeah. When you're out there by yourself, that's a whole different.
That's why I don't go in the woods.
Yeah.
That's too bad. So the message wasn't about this, but just for our lives, to know that Jesus experienced that, he became human, that he does understand everything. But even a step above that, God even knows more about our thoughts and our emotions than we do. That he created us, he knows us. He knows us better than we know us. And that is comforting to me because, especially, and like I said, there's a little bit off of our experiences, but when we have things that what makes us joyful, or we have things that we're afraid of, or those kind of stuff, we sometimes fear telling God about it. Like I'm not going to open up to God, but realize that He already knows even more than you do. He does. And this somebody being with you is the same principle worked the opposite way. When we're experiencing something and we open it up to God, now we let Him in. You said it in a prayer, in just a line, about those closets in our heart. And you probably don't even know you said it. But this idea that when we open up everything in our heart, even the desires we have that we know aren't healthy or whatever, when we open to God, guess what we do? We take ourselves from being alone to sharing it with somebody. So the principle works both directions.
Right.
Yeah.
I really like this message in the fact that we all have heard, God is with you. He's, going through your struggles with you. But a lot of people don't think about the fact that He's already done these things, so He can relate with us. Like, He really is a shoulder you can cry on because He truly understands what you're going through. And I don't know, I really like that about the message. To me, it just was a great reminder that our struggles are just struggles. We're going to get through them. God is going to be there. He's going to help us.
The very last kind of 5 minutes of the message about going to God when we need help, that's really what we're going to explore on Christmas Eve, But that kind of this relationship that we can have with God because Jesus was born, because He lived as a human being, because I won't spoil your week, all those different things.
Because what Kevin's talking about next
Because
week.
what Kevin's talking about, and,
We can all guess what it's going to be.
What? If anybody's got any ideas of what we're talking about next, or what Kevin's talking about next week, go ahead and put them in the comments.
yes.
Yeah.
There
Let's
we
see.
go.
See if anyone can guess.
It's not hard to guess.
Well, let's see.
Yeah. Okay.
If you get it right, you get free coffee.
On Christmas Eve at church.
Yep. Or hot chocolate, whichever one you want. We'll
One
even
of the
throw in
two.
some cookies.
We'll even throw in some cookies. Only if you get it right.
Only if you get it right, though.
Yeah.
So many times in ministry have I met with people who lost a child or something that, and I've always said to them, never try to pretend that I understand. What I've said hundreds of times is, I don't understand what you're going through, but God does. I can't relate to what you're going through. If I can't, then I can't, right?
Right.
But God can not only understand, but He can relate. He actually, believe it or not, can share. When you can share your pain with Him, and now you have half as much. There's a sharing with a human being. That just bring it, like you said yesterday. It doesn't fix it, but it sure fixes it. It does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've the reference that you brought up at the beginning of the message with going through a miscarriage or whatever. My wife and I had experienced that twice, and the first time we went through it, we had nobody because we were in Wisconsin and
there's nobody there.
Nobody there. Okay. Nobody worth talking to in Wisconsin. No, I'm just kidding.
Not true.
I'm just kidding.
You don't want to take
There's like 4 or 5.
pregnancy advice from, Wisconsin.
They're all family.
Brother,
They're all
sister, family tree wreath sort of thing, so.
Okay,
So-
be nice.
No, I'm kidding. But we'd gone there to take care of my dad. My dad was failing, and Mandy got pregnant, and then Mandy lost the baby, and then Dad died, and then all this stuff happened all at once, and we didn't have anybody that had that experience of, and we were low.
Now that can feel lonely.
That was bad. But then we had Violet, and then got pregnant again, miscarried again. But we had a support system at that point in time. So it was like, wow, made all the difference in the world. It didn't make it better, but it made it manageable. It made it easier, you know, a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure.
The other thing I noticed in the video was you said together like 15 times at the beginning of the message.
I did.
Yeah. So together's the key word.
Together.
Yeah.
That's what we should have called the message.
Yeah,
Together.
Yeah.
One thing I think is interesting is a lot of times we feel that whatever we're going through, we're the only people that have ever had something like that happen.
Oh, yeah.
Like you talk about your miscarriage, you've talked about it. When I was diagnosed with my Crohn's disease, all I was told is you have an incurable disease that you are going to live with for the rest of your life.
Well, thanks.
Okay, I don't know what this is. I don't know what that means. So you're telling me I'm dying. Like to me, disease equals death. But so I come to church and I went up for prayer because I was really struggling that day. And Michelle Larson, who used to be with us here, she is praying with me and she's like, so what do you want us to pray for? And I said, I was just diagnosed with Crohn's disease and I'm really, she's like, so is that all? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like,
Woman, I came up for prayer.
she's like, oh, I have Crohn's disease. I've been in remission for all these years. And like, she's had it for longer than, probably over 20 years at that point. I'm like, oh, so you can live with this forever. Like, okay, I'm not dying. And it was such a relief to hear somebody else going through something. And a lot of times we keep, those things inside of us thinking nobody else understands. Yeah. I'm in this alone. And there are other people that we can reach out to. There's God that we can reach out to.
Yeah.
And we're not alone.
Yeah.
Michelle almost got those hands. Dang. Dang. Yep.
No, I was just like, just in shock, like, what?
That's it.
I think
I'm
that's
dying.
the new line. We're going to start a
I'm
prayer ministry
dying.
that when people come up for
Is
prayer.
that it?
That's it? What? Nah. Come back when you got something more.
Luckily, I think it was either Jerry or Bob that was up there praying with her, and like, it was all
Okay,
good.
so we've all had our lowest points. Kevin, you want to divulge your lowest point? I mean, we've all talked about some of ours. Miscarriage, Crohn's. Okay, it's just your turn.
My lowest point.
Not lowest, but one of your lowest.
I don't know if that'd be my lowest. I have to think about that.
That's why I said not lowest, but one of your lowest. That's definitely a low.
Okay. How about just saying a situation that I went through that kind of scared me a little bit, whatever. It was being diagnosed with a severe case of glaucoma and having vision loss, going through a dozen surgeries and doing all that. That's been a process, but I'll tell you what, without... you know what? I don't know about God understanding, but just God.
Yeah, can I ask you a question? Because I feel like there wasn't time to go through all this, but so you've got glaucoma, and people who are here for the message on Sunday might be watching this think, okay, sure, maybe he understands loneliness or betrayal, but he doesn't understand me. So as far as we know, Jesus never had glaucoma.
Right.
So how would you tie into... He does understand what it's like.
Well, the glaucoma isn't the problem. There's fear with living in a closet, where you can't see. And I already have.
You can come out of the closet.
I have a touch of that closeness thing, phobia.
Stop.
What's that called?
Give him a hug.
Claustrophobia.
Claustrophobia. So I have that, and so it's not. Jesus never had glaucoma, but Jesus knows what it is to fear life change that you can't handle or you're not used to. The fear is the problem, right? It's not the glaucoma. Yeah. It's the fear. It's the unknown. Those kind of things. Is that your phone?
No.
No,
You're
it's
supposed
yours.
to turn that off before you start. And for me, the point was not Jesus understands, because I never went there, but the source of life and joy isn't seeing. The source of life and joy is God himself, his presence. And I believe you can have that whether you can
Christmas Eve spoiler.
Sorry.
It's okay. People won't remember.
That's true. They won't. Anyway, yeah. God being close and there and understanding. All this whole series is, you can say it all in one, that God loves us and he's with us. That's why Jesus came. This is what it's about. This is Christianity. I say this every series, but this is Christianity and the value of it. And why wouldn't everybody accept what Jesus has done to be one, united with God in his fullness and his glory? I don't understand. I don't.
Yeah.
It's there and it's free.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So simple, so easy.
And how many times when you're going through bad stuff like that do you forget, oh, I can just go to God? You know what I mean? Like shouldn't that be the first go-to? Like, I just need to...
And usually we try everything else
else on our own to try and...
Gosh, I'm just really stressed. I need to watch some TV or have a drink or, whatever. Or, oh, I'm really afraid about something. I need to go buy something to make myself feel better. All these different routes we try that we all know don't work. I mean, maybe temporarily for a short time.
Very short.
Numb us to something.
Right.
But, yeah.
Or distract us.
Distract us
get
just
away
long
from
enough.
it. Yep.
And then it's always doubly worse when we're undistracted again. How many people, seriously, what you just said, how many people in America have financial pressure? So to relieve it, they go buy something. Like, really? I mean, it's just true. How ridiculous is that?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yep.
All right. Well, that is our message recap. I was going to say wrap up, but it's recap. We haven't wrapped up yet. We still got
We're in the
one more.
process of...
We have one more message for the series wrap up.
No. Two.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Well, I know we have Christmas. Is
Although
it still
we
on
won't
the?
be doing, we're not going to recap that one.
Okay. And is that the didn't see that coming?
Yep.
It is still the
That's
didn't see that
that's
coming.
the final.
That is the final one.
installment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's
Somebody
two more.
hasn't been paying attention.
I thought the Christmas Eve one was something separate. I thought it was on its own.
There's a lot of things you think, Dave.
I know. And most of them are wrong, and that's fine. I'm fine. You've told me I could be wrong all the time. And it's fine. That's fine, right?
Yeah.
All right. So join us next week, and we'll go over the message next week. See you.